Good morning, good afternoon.
I got
Robyn,
muted.
you did. I was going to say I'm Gil, but I didn't hear who you were.
Oh, I'm Robyn, and
Oh,
this
very
is
good.
this is
And
Rockin the Love. We're so glad you're here with us today. Despite some technical difficulties, we are here because that's the way spirit works, right?
absolutely. And why do
So,
you say that?
if
Do we have
spirit
reason
works through
to?
you like that, we'd love it if you push the little like button, and told us you were here. Let us know where you're coming in from, and we just want to thank you for being part of our show, and we love to talk with you because your input is so valuable. So like us on all your social media. All right, now you were trying to say something as I talked over you. What exactly was it?
Well, why is it that this little difficulty seemed like a okay thing today? Or unsurprising, if that's more accurate. I mean, does it fit in with the week somehow?
So why don't you just say what you're trying to say, Mr. Passive Aggressive? Hello from San Jose. Hello, San Jose. Oh,
Hello.
it's a very mysterious Facebook user,
Nice
but
to
that's
see you.
okay. We love that. Um, all right. So what Gil's alluding to is that the title of our show today is "I am so blessed and I'm stressed." Something like that.
Something
Because
like that.
of that silly saying, "I'm too blessed to be
Less to be
stressed."
stressed.
So we're going to talk about that later on. We're going to talk about the spirituality of stress. I don't know where we're going to talk about, but we're going somewhere that headed that direction. And as you can see, we are apart. We are on separate screens because Gil is in New Mexico and I am in Oakland, California. And we are
Probably the last time you'll be in Oakland, California. And welcome, Mara. Thanks for introducing yourself. Welcome to our show. We're excited.
So just in case you don't know Mara and anybody else out there, we are a married couple who live in two different parts of the world, it feels like, but he's in New Mexico and I am in California. So we are here, but we are here together because social media and media is just wonderful technology. So how was your week?
My week has been very busy and very good. I've been doing a lot of work to get ready for bringing stuff in when we follow up on our move. Anyone that's been watching us knows that we're in the midst of moving the household in California from north to south, and then moving the rest of the stuff from there to here to New Mexico. So anyway, I've been
Well,
working
let
to.
me decode that for anybody who's listening. Part of the family is moving to San Diego, and part of the family's stuff is moving to New Mexico.
That is correct. That is correct. So anyway, I've been working on that, and we have a community retreat happening this weekend.
What
Robyn, I actually
community
will.
is that?
That's the Rio Grande Center for Spiritual Living. Will actually be Robyn and I will be together as of tonight, and heading up to the retreat tomorrow. So that's very exciting. Um, and we have another really important thing happening at the center in November that I'm working on. So I mean, it's just a little bit woo. It's a little bit woo.
It's
Lots happening.
busy. Yeah,
And
it's a busy time. I don't know about for everybody out there, but it just seems like and there are actually studies that have showed that time is speeding up.
mm,
Whole different show, but time is speeding up, and it just feels like everybody, even though we are in the midst of moving, which is always stressful and crazy and all of that, and I really begin to wonder, like, how did I get so much crap? Like, how did I really get all these little tiny things? I didn't know I had so many tchotchke things because I don't even like tchotchkes. It's not like I have them displayed on a bookshelf or anything. They're just like box tchotchkeizing. So I don't know. Anyway, it's like, and it's like I said to you yesterday. It's like stuff has grown. It's like I know that like when I look at these boxes, it's like more things come out. I'm like, I didn't even remember having that. And sometimes I'm like, but I like it. And I'm like, don't like it. Just give it away. Anyway, that's the story with our move. So we will be talking about that in a little bit. We'll be talking about stress and all that that brings with it. But you know, my week has been good. It's just it's hectic, and I'm a bit in denial that I'm leaving my
Mm.
people and my friends up here. I'm not sure if it's really denial. I mean, I know it's happening. I'm just not ready to have that ceremonial happening where people go, oh, and they honor you and they, give you the going away party and they act like they're never going to see you again and all of that. I just, I've been on this track of one foot in front of the other. First things first, what's right in front of me, just do it. And that's not right in front of me. Right in front of me are boxes,
Mm.
and getting out. So I'm sure in the big scheme of things, I'm not being very sensitive to everyone else and what they need because I know people need to do their process, but I've saved up for that. I've,
I have a feeling you're having a little bit of your own process, and I think you hit on it at the beginning that it's there's a part of you that's in a certain kind of denial that you're leaving because so much of your life has been there, at least for the last 12, 13 years.
right.
And even moving to Southern California, you're kind of passing by your your old haunts and heading all the way to San Diego. So that means it's going to be different. So I
Yeah.
hear you.
Yeah. I mean, it is interesting. I think it also has to do with the whole no time and space aspect of things. For anybody who doesn't know me, I'm really not tied into those constructs of time and space. So I'm always like, oh, it's not that far. It's okay. I mean, I could get on a plane and be there in an hour. I could drive up the coast and be there in 8 hours. It's not a thing. So it's like I don't want to create it as a, farewell, so long thing.
It's interesting because being in Albuquerque now for what, year and a half almost, uh, that, and when I go back to Oakland, et cetera, it's as if I never left.
Yeah.
And then when I come back here, it's as if I never left. It really is interesting to have relationships and stuff that you sort of mold into, just based on where you're physically located in the moment.
Yeah.
And it's really quite beautiful to have those kinds of things, those kinds of connections.
Yeah.
I find it to be wonderful.
It is. And I think also since the pandemic and since Zoom and since all of these things, we're so used to being together so much of the time anyway. Like it's like how many friends do I have that I don't even know in person
Mm-hmm.
from my Zoom meetings and connections and this and that. And then, like you see people, it's like there's been no break in stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, it's very true. So that's where we are, peoples. That's how our week
Mm-hmm.
has been, and obviously a lot of processing going on that we didn't even know about.
That's right.
So
Thank you for helping.
it's time for the good news. This is our segment where we tell you what's going on good in the world because we know that there is enough you can find out there that doesn't line up with that or appears not to. So tell me what you've got, Mr. Olmsted.
Well, there is a group of students from the Netherlands who built come on now, there it goes, built this little solar powered SUV / campery thing and drove it across Morocco. Now, I love the photo that we have here because in it you see all of the goats hanging out next to the vehicle. But it's the first solar powered electric vehicle
Wow.
like this. And I mean, I know there's been multiple different kinds of things, but this one is pretty cool. And I just wanted to bring it up because, again, we love to talk about the environmental things that are moving forward. And so, in the midst of the news that we get that big corporations are trying to squash solar, et cetera, we know that, especially coming up from the grassroots, is this kind of thing. So we know ultimately it will prevail, and that's kind of cool. So that was my good news.
That is very cool. That is really cool. All right, I'm ready to tell you mine. So there is an artist who decided to create artwork out of organic food. And what he did, as you can see, is he created iconic landscapes, and it was all edible, and it was made entirely from fruits and vegetables and the butter and yogurt and all kinds of things. And he did, he's from the UK. He did, Stonehenge and Avon Gorge and all of the iconic places there. And at the end of the 2023 harvest season, he just got these vegetables, made these scenes, and at the end of it all, he ended up feeding. They ended up doing meals for, I think it was 145 or 143 meals to families that were in need across the country.
Wow.
Yeah. So he repurposed all of the food that was in the what do you call them? Exhibit in the art. Yeah. And he repurposed it all into recipes, and anything that was unused was donated to food charities, and then they delivered the to families in need.
Wow. And what's interesting about that, I mean, it makes me think of the monks with the Dalai Lama that come and do the sand mandalas and spend 3 or 4 or 5 days somewhere and create this beautiful creation, and then brush it all off. And this is kind of, in terms of the artwork, kind of a similar thing,
Yeah, well, you can't be attached to it.
Right.
Yeah. But I mean, just how fun to have so many people involved in, seeing the beauty, seeing the art, and then to recreate it into, something that can be actually useful. So I thought that was super cool. So that's our stories. That's our good news for the week. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a short break. And if you're out there, again, please feel free to say hello. Let us know where you're coming in from. And when we get back, we are going to talk about stress. So get some comments.
But don't forget, we're going to talk about how blessed we are, and we still feel stressed. Okay.
All right. So we'll see you right back here on New Thought Media Network.
Thanks for watching.
And we are back right here on New Thought Media Network. This is Rockin the Love. I'm Robyn.
And I'm Gil, and we're happy to be with you today. Gosh, the last Wednesday in October, isn't it? Okay,
It is.
it is. Wow.
Oh,
So,
you know what that means.
yeah,
That means we're heading into holidays. It's fall, y'all.
it's definitely fall. It's fall. We're feeling it here a little bit. Got a little chilly, a little bit of rain.
I can't even go there because you cannot judge seasons by weather anymore. You just can't. You can't. It was like 85 here like 3 days ago, and then it rained for 2 days. So, but it is fall technically.
Technically, it is fall. Okay, so we know that. So
Yeah.
we're talking about being so blessed and yet feeling stressed.
Right. And this comes from the saying, I'm too blessed to be stressed.
Yes.
So I was thinking about that saying, and I was thinking, like where did that come from and what does it really mean? Right.
Mm-hmm.
You have any ideas?
I don't know where it came from exactly, but for me, it's more of an affirmation than a truism. It's like I'm affirming that I'm too blessed to be stressed.
Yeah, I think that's good.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone really knows the origin is basically what I've concluded. But obviously it came from, religious organization type things telling people, that their faith was, the most important thing and that, God would handle it. And actually what I did find and come up with was a saying. I love this when this happens. A saying from the Bible, from John 16:33, which says, I have said these things to you that you may have peace in me. In the world, you will have tribulation, but take heart, I have overcome the world.
Mm-hmm. So looks like our producer is actively finding things came from the African American church, and that actually makes sense from some of the stuff I've seen, or at least it was adopted there and utilized. And and it sounds a little like bypass. For anyone that maybe doesn't know what that means, the idea of sort of glossing over things and saying, "Oh, it's all good," when maybe not. And that's kind of the reason we're doing this today, is acknowledging that in the midst of being blessed, we can still feel a little bit stressed, and and then it's like, so what do we do? What do we do with that, and how does that work?
Yeah. So what else came up for you around this?
Well, I was thinking about how just the ebb and flow of life, I mean, like as we mentioned, we're in the middle of a very stressful time because we're moving, and and I'm maintaining my job here, you're maintaining your work there. I'm organizing here to be able to receive what's come, all those things. So in the midst, and then in terms of what's happening with the center that I'm the spiritual director of, we have a lot of things happening, and so I'm trying to be a part of that. And so somewhere in there, I have to step back from it and go, I have to trust that it's going to be okay, because otherwise I would stress out a lot, and I think part of it is what the I'm too blessed part does for me is remind me to think about what's working and what's happening without without my input, or it's already done, or whatever. It allows me to realize, oh, I'm already receiving all of this here. So if I can hold on to that, sometimes it pulls me through that hour job that I really didn't want to do, but I need to get done, and
Right.
that kind of thing. What about you?
Well, it reminds you that there's more than this.
Yes.
And
Yes, there's more than this.
Mara said, I'm blessed and the world still affects me.
Yeah.
And I think, I mean, that's so real, because otherwise we just go into what she said before of spiritual bypass. We just go, oh, well, it's all good. And we keep moving. And sometimes it's not all good.
You know,
Go ahead.
oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was having a discussion with someone the other day, and it came up around Marianne Williamson and her run for the president.
Mm-hmm.
And this person said, I don't understand why Marianne is so interested in politics when she's such a Course in Miracles person. Because A Course in Miracles says that none of this is real and there's nothing you can do. And, and then they proceeded to say that, like I've been at Course in Miracle meetings, people come in and they're stressed out about, wars in the world or whatever's going on. And I just say, what war? Right?
Wow.
Yeah. And I sat there with that and I thought, whoa. And I said to him, I have a question for you. I said, if I tell you that in 5 minutes a bomb is going to drop on this place, what are you going to do? And he said, I'm going to get out of here. I said, yeah. And what if I told you that in 5 minutes a bomb is going to drop on someone else? What do you do? And, do you pretend that there is no bomb if it's dropping on someone else, but if it's dropping on you, it's real? I mean, it's like, wow, interesting, right?
Well, it is interesting because, I mean, you could take that so many places, and that it's interesting. I mean, I don't even know if that's spiritual bypass. I don't think it is. I mean, I don't know, but it's like if you said to me, if I work for you and I say, where's my paycheck? And you say, what paycheck?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so there are the tangible reality things that we have to deal with, whether or not life is an illusion or whether or not we're on a time contingency that everything's happening at once, or whether or not there is no war and that's just, I don't know, the war within us. I mean, you can go all different ways with it, but it is interesting. It's an interesting.
Yeah. Well, what the reason I connected it to the bypass was just the idea that, it's easy to gloss over some things and decide that I don't need to be concerned about them because God's got it or whatever. And I kind of got that sense from Mara that, yeah, we don't want to, things affect us because they're real, and we have to, how do we interact? How do we be love in the world if we don't acknowledge where there are calls for love? How do we do that?
Right. And I mean, and in terms of Marianne Williamson, I mean, I think since we're living in this illusion, we have to figure out what's ours to do in it. Right. I mean, okay, let's just say it's all an illusion. I mean, we're still in it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, it's a fascinating exploration of time and space. But back to stress.
Let me just say just real quickly that was one person's comment about A Course in Miracles. I'm not telling people that that's the definition and that's how it works there, because that's not, I believe, the truth. But that was what they heard from it. So I just wanted to clarify that.
Good clarification. That it is not the belief of us or this station. We are not repeating a situation. So stress. So back to stress, though. I mean, so what is stress? How do you know when you have stress? Because like I know for a lot of people, I appear to not be stressed most of the time. And
Mhm.
I don't really think I am. However, it shows up different ways for me. So
You want to go to this? What's on the screen?
go ahead, Gil.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to clarify. I was in a hurricane last week in Mexico, and it was scary. As scary as it was beautiful. So much destruction and new life will come from it as well. I just want to acknowledge, first of all, thank you for sharing that fact and how scary that kind of situation is. And so even when we can see what's possible in it and we can be in that, it doesn't mean we're not feeling it on the inside. And I'm sorry, I connected that to what you were saying, Robyn, about appearing stressed on the outside.
Yeah, no worries. No worries. Yeah, so I'm just curious. So stress shows up all different ways for different people. I mean, some people are stressed and then they are frozen and can't do anything, and or it shows up in the body temple, which probably always shows up in the body temple anyway. Whether that looks like pain in the back or the neck or an ulcer or you know whatever. So I mean, um, how do we work with that amidst what's going on in the world?
Well, I think what I've done or what's been helpful to me, you talk about the body, is that I've worked with a couple of different people that do body work, and I've learned better to recognize what's going on in my body, and I've discovered things that they could sense that I needed to release or work with, that I was holding on to in my body. And I mean, that's one of the ways I've dealt with it, is start to acknowledge it and find a way to release it as best I can, and try not to bring more in of the same kind of thing. Notice that, oh, that's what's going on. How do I allow this to be without it turning into my own back pain or ulcer or whatever?
Yeah. No, I think that's a great awareness. I think that the answer to my question comes in, there's so many ways for us to be aware of our body and what we need, and it's going to be different for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, and different and the same. I mean, I think there are things we can do that we don't always do on our own. I'm going to use you as an example because
Oh, thank you.
who better? No, but I mean, like, it is being aware even just of what we're eating, and fueling up with the right foods, and like, if you eat sugar, how it affects your body. It's not like you're a kid and you get loud and crazy or any of those things. However, when you don't eat sugar, or when we've done like a cleanse and been doing that, you've got a lot more energy, and you're not weighed down by those things that would deter you. So I think, like, if you're fueling up with the right foods, and we know all the people that we know that go out and that are speakers and doing like some kind of circuit or something like that, they're always like totally into their green drink, or making sure that they're eating, good probiotic rich foods, and lots of leafy greens and vegetables and nuts, and those kind of things that really change your body temple, and give your body that right energy to support you.
So what about those of us that feel sometimes like eating properly stresses us out? And it's not the eating properly, it's the process of of maintaining the stuff that we need to be able to eat properly.
Right.
You know,
But that's breaking an old habit, right? That's
part of
breaking
it.
a habit, and that's making a choice for you. Because if, for example, if uh, one of us, or let's use somebody else, if one of our family members was ill or had something where they could only eat X, Y, and Z, you bet that both of us would have X, Y, and Z there,
Hmm.
you know, and we would take, when you think about how you would take care of somebody else. And for us, we go, it's not that big a deal. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it later. Or I don't want to go to Whole Foods. I'd rather go, to Safeway or the normal, and we make those, that's agreements we make with ourselves. So we have to prioritize ourselves, I think.
Hmm.
And again, in breaking that habit, it's not always like, oh, yum, I want the green drink, as opposed to, I don't know, eggs and sausage or whatever you have in the morning. You know what I mean? I mean, so it is it's kind of like any of us who came into a new thought, right? You were changing from something, most people were leaving something behind that didn't serve them, or they found something that served them and felt healthy for them. And so I think it's that kind of reorganizing and reprioritizing and noticing. I mean, for you, it's like if you had a car where you had to use the high price gas, you wouldn't put the low price gas in it because of what it
Hmm.
would do to the engine. And it's like you have to make that choice that I'm doing the high price gas. Our producer is not fond of green drinks.
Green drink.
I think they're good. I think some of them are good. But again, for me, it's a lot of work. Like my thing is, I don't want to be kitchen cooking, blah, 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 unless I'm making something else, but like to do that every morning and commit to that, that's a lot of work
For yourself.
for myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've run into that here, being by myself more, not not even eating, not even taking care of the eating that I was taking care of as well, because it's a pain to cook. It's a pain to, whatever. Even though when I'm with the whole family, I will cook lots,
Yep.
you know,
Yeah. So
and
it's reprioritizing ourselves, and and all of those foods that I mentioned, like it's, I'm sure there's studies on all of them, but like those that are rich in magnesium and like the greens and nuts and things, they not only like lower blood levels, or intake of those foods is associated with uh, an increased risk of depression. I mean, when you don't have them, there's an increased risk of depression.
okay. So they're associated with a decreased risk of
Let me say it
depression.
in a different way. If you have like low blood levels of magnesium or a low intake of magnesium, that's associated with the increased risk of depression.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
So, I mean, and I'm sure it's true for many foods, obviously, that it creates those depression, anxiety, different things in our body. Green juice, okay. Green chili, fabulous.
Oh my gosh, that sounds like a New Mexico comment.
Wow, green chilies in the green juice? That's an
Uh-huh.
interesting thought. You need to tell me. Okay, and Kevin says from ACIM, 50 Miracle Principles, number 18, a miracle is a service. It is a maximal service you can render to another. Oh, you're a miracle, my boo.
We're all miracles.
We are all miracles, especially you,
Ah,
Rev Kev. Thanks for
okay.
joining
So
us.
this Facebook user, oh, from San Jose, is in New Mexico. Wait, is this Mara still?
No,
Or is this a different Facebook user?
it's a different Facebook user. Mars in
Okay.
San Jose.
I know, but there's a San Jose here.
Okay, stop networking. Okay. So,
So you made me think though when you talked about the eating foods and oh hi Abe, uh, about the feeling having more energy, and I realized too that having more energy usually helps me be. It's also associated for me with having clearer thoughts and sharper memory and ability to actually be more productive in less time and work. So
yeah,
I'm just sharing that.
absolutely. Absolutely. And I
Yeah.
think that, I mean, we're talking about, the natural remedies for stress, that leads to another one, which is activity and staying active and movement and being outdoors and taking walks. And I mean, we all know that exercise is good for our health and boosts our mood and all of those things. So obviously, if you're feeling like that, then you have, you know, the energetic and the desire, and you have the clear thoughts to do that.
Well, and it's cyclical because if I don't do the exercise and go out, I don't feel like doing the exercise and going out, and piles on top. And then I feel more stressed because then I'm upset with myself, or I feel like, or just my body feels differently, so I'm not feeling like I'm getting things done. And when I share that and say I think many of us feel that way and know the feeling. And so this I this idea of recognizing why we're blessed and taking advantages of the opportunities to take care of ourselves, and remembering that taking care of ourselves is not taking away from someone else. It's if I'm stressed, it doesn't work in our relationship very well, and it doesn't work in my relationships with the people I work with, right?
Right.
um Gosh, I don't even remember, but I remember, I have on several occasions with you bitten your head off when I was stressed.
Oh, yes, I do.
It's surprising you have a head. Um,
No, but I mean, yeah, I think it's true, and we've noticed that when we've done different kinds of eating and cleanses and things like that, that you have a much more even temper. And the same with the physical activity. There's a study that was published in Environmental Science and Technology that found, obviously when people did their exercise, they reported feeling more energy, less tension and depression. And then those who just did workouts like inside or went to the gym, and there's all kinds of studies. There's all kinds of studies
oh
that,
yeah.
link the brain to the, uh, negative thoughts and all those things and how they occur if you're not doing that exercise.
Well, yes, and doing those things, I think, awakens us to the ability to see what's possible and what's happening in our lives. What's the good stuff, and we don't see it in the same way unless we do that. And for me, I sometimes think that there's not enough time to do things. And the reality is there's enough time. I just okay, music is also very good for the soul, and laughter. I've actually over the last few days been playing music on my speaker at home. And it really helps me to when I want to get some things done, or I want I put on some music. It's when I'm doing stuff I don't need to be totally focused on. And it keeps me moving, it keeps me more positive. It does all that, and
Well,
all it is me turning on the music.
yeah, that's just like when we're at home and I make you dance.
Yeah.
I put on the music when he's feeling down and he doesn't want to get out of bed and he's, dealing with some depression or whatever. I turn on the music and I'm like, come on, we're dancing. We're dancing. But right, you start moving and you're up and something happens in your brain. So I mean, I think all of these things are super important to remember in de-stressing. And I think that, that awareness, what we're talking about, also leads to another thing about depression that is is a helper, um, which is mindfulness, being mindful. And, when you can be awake and aware in that way, then you can remember your spiritual practices. You can take that breath. You can make sure you go and find, a place to meditate for 5 minutes. It doesn't matter, but, you begin that kind of slowing down, going within process, whatever it is that teaches you, that lifts you and leads you to that place of centering.
Well, I think what that allows is for someone to step back and become the noticer and notice what's going through my body, and my feeling of being depressed and all that is just moving through me. It's not who I am. And that's where that I'm blessed piece comes, is when we realize who we really are, then we can observe more of these things and start to figure out ways to work with them. But we don't take them. Well, okay, let's go to the 4 agreements. We don't take it personally. Because when I take it personally, I spiral.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Because this is me, and I'm bad, and I must be bad because I feel bad, and all that, whatever one story is, right?
Yeah. And I mean, whether you have, whatever your practices are, obviously yoga and things like that are great. And, even if you don't have a regular practice or something you do, I was reading, somebody said, go to your pantry and, grab an orange and just sit down and really look at the orange and start to peel it and really examine it like you've never seen it before, and go through the process of describing it and peeling it and eating it, and just really using all 5 of your senses: sight, smell, taste, touch, and hearing. Yeah. And then as you're focusing on it intentionally, you'll begin to turn down your nervous system,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
just settle in instead of having that kind of or flight.
You're moving your focus away from whatever it is that's disrupted in your body or in your mind.
Right.
So therefore you can step back from it and notice it, rather than feel that it is you, because you stepped away.
Right. Yeah. And yes, absolutely. And you can obviously do it with anything, but I love that image of an orange, because I don't know, for me, when I think about the orange rind and that smell, and to me, it always brings me back to Disneyland and Soaring Over California ride, because and if any of you have been to a Disney World theme park, you soar over California, and there's these orange groves, and you smell them as you're on the ride, and it's it is that sensory thing. I don't even really like oranges, but just that smell and that citrus thing, it gives me a whole memory in my body, and so you can see where it would take you to a different place for real, more than just focusing on something solid.
Yeah. So what do we do? What do we offer folks with these ideas? What can we offer?
I think that's what we're trying to do. We were doing
I know.
is offering some things to do when you're stressed, and I think those 3 things that we've talked about. And I think also I just want to add in there that I've also read that there's really a lot of value in setting a power down routine at night, really when it comes to sleep and anxiety. I know for me that the minute I put my head on the pillow, my body thinks, oh, it's our turn, my brain, and begins to tell me everything that I need to do and what I haven't done and how I should do it. And I better call so and so. Oh, and then I need to write that down. Oh, I can't write it down. I don't want to move it. My brain goes ballistic. And, so it's like figuring out like a power down kind of routine that allows like really to relax. Not that everyone goes as crazy as I do, but still, even just if it's, they say that TV and media is not the thing, but if it's, if you do like a shower or you a bath or whatever you do, and I don't know.
Well, and the comment there of journaling really helps. Yeah, it depends on who you are and what things work for you, but that's one way that people sort of let out whatever they're thinking and begin to move, to let it go. And meditations on YouTube. Yeah, there's tons of meditations, recorded meditations, meditations that are just meditation music.
Yeah.
The days of I don't have that, I can't get it are long gone.
Right.
Whatever like that you think you might want or somebody suggests, you can find it somewhere.
Yeah. And just like the meditations, deep breathing. I know sometimes I've put on a YouTube that is like subliminal stuff when you sleep, things like that. But, all of these things obviously are subject to what works for you, and different things that work for you. And I think as Mara brought up, what we don't want is to spiritually bypass stress.
Mm-hmm.
We know we're blessed. We know we are children of God and we are blessed. We're, and sometimes we're stressed. I was reading somebody wrote a thing that said, even in this stressful life and its stressful problems, I am blessed. I'm not too blessed to be stressed, but I am blessed despite my stress, even in spite of my stress. And I thought, I would say my stress is a blessing. I would just claim my stress as a blessing, because I do think that it's a wake-up call, it's a warning, it's all of those things. And really it depends, like everything in life, it depends how we meet it. So if we meet it as stress, over there, stay over there, we don't want you, blah, blah, blah. But how do we really acknowledge and just go, oh, that's my alarm going off, that I need to do something differently. I need to breathe. I need to stop. I need to get help. I need to find a friend, whatever it is that you need to do in that moment. And so I actually think it's really the awareness or the wake up call that leads us to putting ourselves first on some level.
So the opportunity is for us to utilize it as a blessing rather than as a negative, because it's alerting us to what's going on. It's alerting us to what we might need to do, or it's reminding us that, you haven't ridden your bike in a week, or it's reminding you, whatever it is. For
me, that's what I'm saying. I mean, For me, it's kind of like that danger, Will Robinson. It's alerting me to that there's a choice to be made, and which way do I want to go with that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, and when we talked a couple minutes ago about, going within and realizing that the stress or that feeling of stress is not who you are. It's just something moving through you. And I think that's all part of the process too. It's like, oh, this is just here. So I can either, allow it to move through, or I can fight it. And I think where we get in trouble is when we fight, because then we're telling it it's powerful, and that kind of thing. And so we're pushing back, which is a different way of saying, I think of what you were saying, of pushing it back, saying, oh, no. you know.
Hmm.
Just a thought. I have those on occasion.
A fine thought it is, Mr. Austin.
Fine thought it is. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm just processing what you said, but yeah. So I mean I think if anything, it's what we've come to is it's not, it exists. It's
It exists. Yes.
it exists in this world, and it's okay to have it. And it's not another. It's not spiritual to be stressed.
Right.
It's it's just part of life, or part of the illusion.
Right.
However you choose to look at it, it is. And yeah, we either allow it to become a big thing, or we stop it. We don't, and there's times when you can just not go down the drama road, because that just adds in, to
Add
the.
stress. Then you have more stress. You build your stress. So the question is, how do you notice your stress and then not add to it, not create more around it? Oh, that's stressing me out a bit. All right. you know, Versus I need to tell my story. I mean, it reminds me of last week and getting home, and there's a whole long story, but there was a lot happening when I got back here, and I could have gone pretty ballistic if I'd allow it to really stress me out,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I chose not to.
Anyway, it is a long story, but it was one of those stories where at every turn there was something new. So, uh, you know, you had to keep making new decisions along the way. So,
Right.
I mean, that's how I think we leave this, is that, just noticing is the key. Noticing, and then, noticing where it's coming from, what the root of it is. And I would even suggest at that point going to the work of Byron Katie and asking, is that the truth? Is it the truth? Like, when you are stressed about something, I'm so stressed that I can't, I don't know, pay my bills. Is that the truth? Is that the truth? Well, it may be in that moment, but as we break that down, we go further into. I thought this was going to be a short example, and it's got long. Sorry. Um,
Hate it when that happens.
but just being aware what part is yours to do, and what you can change, and how you can change it. So some of the examples we've said are great things to do when you realize that you're at that stress point. And if you have any other examples, we would love to hear them. I love the reminder of journaling and all the YouTube videos, because social media is our friend. So we
Can
should
be our friend.
and be our friend. So use it wisely, and let it help de-stress you. And on
And,
that
and
note,
I was just going to say just one really quick thing, that some de-stressing may require more long-term investment. I thought of it when you said I can't pay my bills. It's like, well, what if you really, instead of letting it stress you out, you evaluated clearly and made some new choices. And so there's the things that we do in the moment to keep us functioning, and then it's okay to go, oh, I want to make some long-term changes, and allowing that to be okay. It's okay that it's not fixed right now, but it's in process. So
yes,
sorry.
yes. And that process we will discuss over and over and over again right here on our show every Wednesday at this hour.
Because you cannot get along with people in the world if you don't deal with your stress. And you can't get along with yourself very well either. So there you go. All right.
All right. Well, you are stressing me out. So I'm gonna say that we will see everyone next week. I'm excited that I will see you in a matter of hours. I am a little stressed that I still have to pack and I have to go teach and do things, but it's all right. It will. At the end of the day, I'll get there.
It's
And
all
it'll be
good.
perfect. So
Okay.
what we're asking of you all out there is to rock the love, you all, because there are plenty of places that need it, and we know that you have it. So send out a mega dose of love to everyone everywhere this week, and just keep rocking the love. And we'll see you next week. Thank you, Abe and Mara, for joining us, and Rev Kev and whoever else is out there that didn't follow instructions and sign in. We love you anyway. Rock the love, y'all.